We're going to kick off with each panelist, and we're allowing 3 minutes, so keep your eye on your watch, to introduce your organisations and to describe what's your role and what's your interest around the whole World Cup 2022 in Qatar. And we're particularly interested to hear your involvement on policy on labour rights. Amin, would you care to kick us off?
Yeah, thank you. This is Amin. I'm from Bangladesh community and also part of Community Leaders Forum here in Qatar. We basically coordinate all the workers for their issues and their rights and their problems. We hear them, we go to them, and we convey to the authority in the Ministry of Labor. And here with the BWI is our partner in all this approach and procedure. We are very keen to reach out all the workers to ensure their workplace to be safe. They get their wages in time, and when they have any issues, they can reach us, and we can follow up with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amin, and for setting a very good standard of brevity for the rest of the panel, which I'm sure they'll all follow. Johan, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Hi there, everyone. Nice to see you. Yes, dear friends, Byggnads, the Swedish construction union, has been engaged with the BWI sports campaign since it was an idea actually back in 2007. And we have as an affiliate of the BWI always giving our support. That's nice to say that actually. When we did our first joint visit in Qatar and Doha in 2013, we could all see how badly migrant workers was treated, both on sites as well as in their living spaces. At that time, Qatari authorities, nor Fifa, local, wanted to even meet and talk to us, actually. It was a tough time. And looking in the mirror, I think we, through our consistent pressure and deeper dialogue, we have together taken tremendous steps forward to truly give migrant workers in Qatar better condition, but also strong voice. Back home here in Sweden, I know that our members are extremely proud that they have been a part of making difference for all World Cup workers, but they will continue to have close watch because we all want true and sustainable development in Qatar, of course. And one part of continuing our work is to support the bilateral agreement between Qatar and Sweden, with the aim to train health and safety inspectors in the service sectors, actually. So that's something for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johan. William, over to you.
Thank you, Gail. So the Centre for Sport and Human Rights is a human rights organisation for the world of sport. We were established in June 2018 after more than 3 years of multi-stakeholder work by a whole range of different organisations, including BWI, in particular Jin Suk. So I'll join with others on behalf of our team in paying tribute to her and her work. But the centre is chaired by Mary Robinson, the former High Commissioner, of course, for Human Rights, and advancing labour rights are at the very heart of what the centre is designed to push for. The very first statement that was issued in support of creating a centre was issued jointly by the ILO and the ITUC and the IOE. Those organisations are part of the founding partners of the centre, and labour rights are embedded in our own sporting chance principles too. So it's a major priority for the centre's work. And Qatar 2022 is hugely important for us, hugely important for the growing field of sport and human rights. Many of the risks, real risks and perceived risks associated with Qatar hosting the World Cup are part of the reason why this movement on sport and human rights now exists in the form it does and has made progress on a number of issues. This is also the first World Cup that's already delivering a tangible legacy even prior to the event taking place. And we've heard about that earlier this morning. And so really what we are looking for in this partnership is what can hosting authorities, local organizing committees and others achieve through hosting a mega sporting event, and the partnerships that can be created from that and the legacy that comes from that. And also what can those awarding sporting events expect from hosts and embed in host city contracts, embed in awarding criteria, bid criteria, etc. So those are really the lessons that we are looking to take from particularly this BWI and Supreme Committee partnership and the work with FIFA too. So thank you.
Thank you very much, William. Now over to you, Andreas, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks a lot for the invitation. It's a pleasure to participate in the event. I'm part of the team at FIFA responsible for human rights overall, but then also in particular with respect to FIFA tournaments. Let me start maybe also by congratulating BWI and the SC for an absolutely impressive partnership. I was part of the collaboration we had in Russia with BWI, with the local organizing committee for the World Cup in 2018, and just the discussion that we had earlier today. Such a leap forward with respect to the level of trust that has been developed, with respect to the depth of engagement, both between the organizing entity, the host country, but then also with BWI, the transparency around the collaboration, and then really also the most important thing, I believe, the positive impact that the collaboration has on workers. Now, as the owner of the tournament, FIFA's objective, and very much in line with our human rights policies, is twofold. First, it's about helping to protect the rights of workers who prepare for the tournament. Key priority so far has been working with the SC around construction workers. And as the tournament preparation moves ahead and more other sectors become involved directly in preparing for the event, we start to enlarge in that focus. Mahmoud has mentioned it already in his presentation. So we start to look at hotels, we start to look at logistics and security. And as FIFA and its local partner Q22 are more often than not the collaborating or the contracting partner in those sectors, we become much more involved also in the operational delivery, in collaboration always with Mahmoud and his team. So in terms of maybe what is unique in Qatar, and then I think I'll stop there for the beginning. So we have our joint strategy with the Supreme Committee and with Q22, the sustainability strategy for the event. I'd encourage everyone to look at the strategy and also the recently published update report. It provides an overview on objectives, on the policies that we are following in implementing those objectives, and also then a number of 70 plus initiatives around sustainability and the event. And I think what is really unique about the tournament in Qatar, also when compared to other previous examples, is the importance of the SC as a host country entity that really leads the way locally in using the event for a positive legacy. We're seeing it in labor rights. We see it around security and human rights, with a lot of effort going into training commanders and officers. We see it around accessibility for disabled people in the country more widely. We see movement around press freedom and hope very soon to see a new law on press freedom. And we also see an opening to discussing other topics of anti-discrimination, including with respect to LGBTI plus persons. So overall, we believe we are on a good track. I think we can achieve a huge legacy with this event in Qatar as FIFA, but always in collaboration with our local partners.
Thank you very much indeed, Andreas. We're going to dive into the next session because we're run out of time. What I'm really keen to hear from the panel now is a bit more about what most of you touched on, which is legacy of the World Cup, and in particular in respect of workers' rights. Now, William, I'm going to pick on you. Your centre has a powerful alliance, and you I think use the words tangible legacy. What does that look like on the ground for workers, do you think?
So I think there's a few different layers to this. And the first we've heard quite a lot about already, which is the work being led by the Supreme Committee and the leadership at the top of the Supreme Committee, and the partnerships that have come through both with BWI but with other civil society organizations and unions. And you see the development of good practice and leading standards in the country, in Qatar, through the World Cup project. And that's a powerful example to have a local example of what good looks like, and in the region also. So there's that sort of first element that I think has undoubtedly had a positive impact on those workers engaged in the World Cup project. But as we know, that's a small number of the total number of migrant workers, in particular in construction projects and many other sectors in Qatar. So the wider legacy of this, and we're now seeing this accelerate in quite a way, is the sort of national adoption of reformed labor legislation. And some quite quick changes have happened in the last 3 years since the technical cooperation with the ILO and the Ministry of Labor in Qatar came into place. And that's another huge step forward that is, I think, driven by this timeline of the World Cup coming up too. So that's a wider legacy. We also look at how elements of this can be scalable in other locations. Can this be part of the expected practice of hosting a mega sporting event? Our view is that mega sporting events are prestigious, they're optional things for a country to undertake. We should be expecting exemplary standards in the delivery of mega sporting events. And that's really, we look for the lessons, particularly in BWI's partnership with the Supreme Committee in Qatar, and think, how can we take examples like that and make them standard practice in other mega sporting events? So I think that's our starting point. And beyond the advancing legislation in Qatar, there's a lot of progress necessary on implementation by different sectors. You have ways of doing business that have been based on old-fashioned ways of doing things, and those being challenged by new legislation means that business practices need to evolve, and that means targeting and engaging with sectors to try and ensure that they comply with and uphold and exceed the legislation that's coming in. So those would be the things we're looking for next. I'll stop there and go back to you.
Yes, thanks very much, William. Andreas, you were very complimentary. You congratulated the work of the Supreme Committee with the BWI and said what a positive impact it has. Can you tell us briefly a little bit more about the sustainability strategy, in particular regarding workers' rights? Sure, absolutely. I mean, the strategy is a document that we developed together again with the SC and with BWI, with Q22, which is the entity locally delivering the tournament in addition with the SC, and it includes input from up to 80 organizations, including BWI, that went into the strategy. So the strategy covers objectives around workers who help prepare the infrastructure for the tournament, but also around service workers who start to more and more be involved in the preparation, and then in particular also the hosting of the event. So those, I mean, that's the part of the legacy we believe from workers who prepare the event, as William mentioned before, and where we think we have the most direct impact together with our partners locally, and it is core to our own responsibility as FIFA under a human rights policy. And then we aim to promote the wider legacy through our own engagements as FIFA at the political level, but then also working with the Supreme Committee on more state-focused aspects of the workers' rights field. Maybe in addition to what William had mentioned before, it has come up in the discussion in the earlier sessions. I mean, one thing, yes, is we are learning as tournament organizers from the collaboration between BWI and the SC. Again, is very much also as a continuation from 2018 to 2022, and then I think we'll come to that a bit later on.
and what can be possible for 2026 or even 2022, the Women's World Cup. So there is a lot of learning and a lot of legacy from that perspective also of the tournament.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Johan, I'm going to ask you a different question because it's linked, and I'm worried about getting through some of the important things in the time that we have. You know, a lot of good words about cooperation and about a commitment to legacy. However, there do need to be boots on the ground, as we heard from the earlier session. So what do you think the role of the BWI and worker associations in Qatar after the World Cup, what do you think their role could be? You know, the World Cup's over, people have packed things away. What happens next?
Now, I will never forget two important commitments, actually. The first one was directly to the workers we met at our first visit in the inspection in 2013. We made a promise to be with them and together work for this change. And we promised also to deliver steps that could secure better conditions, but also tools that they could use themselves to make their voices heard, even if we couldn't be with them all the time, at all time. I believe that the dialogue between the migrant workers and the Qataris that has been assisted by BWI and us on site has been crucial, actually, to build knowledge and trust through concrete dialogue. I think that's the good stuff, really good stuff. And to come to the second commitment, we all did was when we signed the memorandum of you know, my English, understanding between BWI and the Supreme Committee. It was historic for all involved partners. It was the first time a Qatari institution signed a memorandum of understanding with a trade union federation, and it was the first time a global union signed anything with Qatar, I think. And this was groundbreaking, and I think this type of cooperation is crucial to learn from each other and build trust and understanding to take concrete steps forward in developing better and sustainable conditions. So we have made huge steps, and I'm proud of it, and I think everyone should be proud of it. But we will never stop because it's not, the work isn't done yet, so to say. Thank you.
I would like to jump into this because, again, as the representative of all the professional football players, of course, very quick, also from our side, when the decision has been made to go to Qatar, we were, of course, concerned, first of all, about the fact that it is impossible to play in the summer, and in good cooperation with FIFA, by the way, we decided that should not be possible. Now, the second point I would like to say, as a global organization also, with 65,000 professional players, member of our organization, the first thing we did is to, by the way, also with consultants with FIFA, we said that you all know that you play football with 11 players, also in Qatar, by the way. But also, we would like to be sure we immediately contacted the people involved in the organization. And my president and myself were traveling to Qatar a couple of times because we from the beginning said, also in Qatar, the rules of the game, not only, but also the rules that contracts has to be respected. And the first thing we did is to change the kafala system for football players and to develop an organization, an union of players, which were has to be in compliance with all the unions member of FIFA, more than 65. And I, together with my president, were traveling there, and I have to say that also we have solved one of the most famous cases the Belonis Zahir case, a player from abroad who was not paid. We solved that problem also, and I have to admit that as of the beginning they really were willing, because of course they wanted to have our players in the World Cup, to work with us, and they also are still now from a couple of years member of FIFPro under the standards of FIFPro. We also think that is not enough, and because of I am a member of the Human Rights Advisory Board, I came in contact with Embed. We traveled there, and also there we have seen, also in cooperation with FIFA, by the way, we also have seen that also the circumstances under which the stadiums are built, and also the fact that we would like to also extend that to everybody involved in the World Cup, that at least in football with players you can achieve probably more, but at least up till now I have to come to the conclusion that the work has not been done, but because of the fact that we still have some time. Also, we are, as a global organization, because it is football, maybe, but we were quite successful in implementing players' unions with the same standards as we have in every country.
Thank you very much, Theo, and I'm delighted that you've been able to join us. I'm going to turn to you, Armin, because you're there. And you are continuing the cooperation very much at ground floor level, and the question of what can be the role of the BWI and the Migrant Workers Association in Qatar after the World Cup. You will have I'm sure, very thoughtful comments to make about that people would like to hear. Amin.
Thank you again. I'm really honored to be in this prestigious conference, surely, organized by BW 2020 Global Sports Conference. This is pointing to the FIFA World Cup 2022. In my view, it has been my pleasure to observe and the wind of changes I feel here in this country. It's a very strong. Since we hear about the FIFA 2022, I can personally compare the big difference then and now when I came here in 1980. It's a lot different. Many good changes happened in favor of workers. The workplaces are safer than ever. Workers are living far better place now. The wage protection system effectively working to ensure workers getting paid in time. And I appreciate BWI has done all the great works to get these achievements in right time. Though this is the legacy of FIFA 2022, mostly the involved workers are who are building the stadiums, but they were the main focus, as I understand. But same time, general workers who are working in some small companies and were getting low wages and staying in not good places, they are actually getting benefited from all of this. So it's a really, really a happy thing for us. And as a community, we are partnering with the BWI and Supreme Committee. This gives us a huge access to address the issues of the workers. In the meantime, Ministry of Labor has already introduced many tools and systems that is really helping migrant workers every day, because we are in the system to follow up daily basis. As a community forum, we are the community leaders forums member. We are following it personally There is the SMS system, hotline, and even the workers, they are encouraged to go directly to lodge a complaint and get their rights and the dues. And all these things has been possible because BWI and Supreme Committee, and we have a partnership. We have an understanding in a good way to help each other. As a part of the best part, I can say, the leaders of the communities, they have direct access to the ministry offices and the big bosses. They are hearing us, they are listening us, and they are solving our problems. Whenever we approach them, they are responding. So this is a great achievement, we can say, as a legacy of FIFA. In this session, I would like to address something that I think the target, what is going to happen after FIFA is over? I mean, the game is over. What is going to happen in this country? So that is our main focus and our question in our mind. I believe already the country has worked, has forwarded much that it cannot go back. Even they are not, we are not playing the game anymore. The game is over. So I think it's the legacies will continue surely, and this is for the good, for the society, for the country, for everyone, for the host country and for the migrants, because we already know the system is doing great. The changes are giving benefits to everyone. So I believe this should continue. And what I want, a small request, or I can say a demand, as I understand, the BWI and we, the community leaders, working with the Supreme Committee and Ministry of Labor all together, is so far very much at a personal level. You can say we go over here and there in offices, we call people, meet them, and try to solve and monitor. But what if we have a center for migrant workers? This could be a very good place, and for a helping center, it will work as a hub for the workers where they can directly approach and get help when they are in crisis. So I think this should be considered as after the game event, or even from now also, we can request, we can see the requirement is there. Workers need to be organized. Since we don't have a labor union here, so this kind of facilities can act on behalf of that at a very much effective way. So I am very hopeful that BWI can do something good way for that to achieve. And we are really also concerned what is going to happen when the stadiums are already built, the constructions are over, so not much work left for construction workers who are still now working. So as a community leader or representative, and since this country, I am here since my childhood, so still I realize there are many things can be introduced, like the agriculture can be improved and promoted to a level that it may host many workers who are right now need a job. Major industries, the manufacturing industries, export oriented, that can be set up that can create vacancies and jobs for these workers as well. And finally, I would like to tell you that we are driving for an open job market for every worker who wish to go wherever they want. They can choose their employer who is giving them better treatment, better payment, and facilitate. So this is our view and the dream, and the legacy should continue of FIFA World Cup 2022 and beyond. Thank you, BWI. Thank you, Supreme Committee, for helping us, connecting us, and everyone in this panel. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Armin. And that was a really clear, sort of really clear vision that you set out. I think the consensus is that there have been very significant labour reforms and particularly on workers' welfare. And I think the question is, how can it be sustained? Well, we've heard some ideas about sustainability, but I want to do a quick round, if I may, on what do you see are the challenges in the spirit of cooperation and in the spirit of having made significant progress. What do you see, and I'll need to ask you to be brief, but what do you see as the challenges and can they be overcome? William, can you start us off, please?
Thanks, Gail. More of the same in lots of respects. I think what we've seen from the partnership between BWI and the Supreme Committee is real willingness to engage, substantive and systematic engagement with stakeholders, a high degree of transparency and scrutiny that's led to a high level of trust and commitment. And so that's easier said than done. And I'll give another plug for the podcast we published recently, which is a conversation between Ambit and Hassan. And I think it's interesting to hear the backstory to how two leaders of organizations not just moved their organizations together, but brought their organizations with them in that respect. So leadership's important. And I think this issue of engaging sectors on a sector by sector basis. Now we look beyond the big construction boom in Qatar. We look at the hospitality sector, the service sector. We think of the level of power imbalance that's been in place in terms of the employer-employee relationship. And that power imbalance has led to just regular day-to-day business practices that will take time to change. Even if you change the legislation now, day-to-day business needs to follow suit and comply and implement and adhere to the new legislation. So I think it's that element of real engagement with employers and with workers to not just have the new legislation, but ensure that it's implemented and upheld. So that would be my recommendation.
That's very good. And I wonder, thinking of challenges. Theo, do you think, from your perspective as a member of the global sporting community, that the concept of human rights and importantly workers' rights are now hardwired into your organisation to meet the challenges?
Yes, of course, for us, it will also, it is challenging to continue with the World Cup, also what happens after the World Cup. Again, nowadays we have, and it is of course very special, we have a collective bargaining agreement, we have a dispute resolution chamber. Of course, within FIFA, human rights, protection of human rights is a very important issue. A challenge will be that also the promotion of women football in Qatar is for us a big challenge, and together with FIFA, we would like to introduce that also. We are very passionate. For us, Asia, and not only Qatar, is a challenge. We still see that again, the sporting rules are the same, but there is still a lot of work to do from our side in the world of football. But let's hope that it helps also not only that we are going to have success in professional football and football in general, but that is also is an example, and that we are also can help, and in this case, of course, with my relationship with them, but we talked about it a lot. If it can happen in football, it must also happen in all other sectors. That is our wish, and the World Cup is still in 1 year and a half, I think, or yeah, even longer. It's 2 years. So we hope that we can also together, BMW, with you, with everybody involved, and with FIFA, that we could at least see it as an example for Asia, that if it can happen in Qatar, that it also will happen in other countries in that area. That's our wish, and we will do our best to be a good example in football, professional
Thank you
football.
very much, Theo. I'm conscious now we've actually run out of time, so I'm just going to swiftly, I'll take you in a moment, Johan. I'm swiftly going to ask Andreas. It's a more or less a yes/no answer, really. Are human rights and workers' rights now hardwired in FIFA? Can we assume that you're the go-to organisation?
Yeah, I do think they are. I mean, I can speak to FIFA for FIFA's work. I do think they are in a number of relevant areas. Players' rights is one aspect that Theo has mentioned, where there has been a lot of progress around tournaments, certainly with the integration of human rights criteria in the bidding. We start from a different point now with 2023 and 2026. So I do think we are at a different starting point in integrating labor rights into the operations for those tournaments. Certainly, we'll need to adapt to different contexts and circumstances. And then also when it comes to supply chain relationships, that's, if you speak about challenges, that's something we're working on very hard as an organization more widely, and in particular also with respect to 2022. There is more work to be done with respect to supply chain relationships. But that's, of course, another area where workers' rights are directly linked to us.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Thank you very much. Now, Johan, a sentence, because I can see Toss on the screen, and he will be anxious to move to the video and then for me to conclude.
Yeah. No, I get very emotional actually with listening to Amin actually, and I think everybody knows that the $10,000 question is what will happen after 2022, and I have met so many workers in Qatar, Doha, who actually wants to stay there and try to build their life, and that's something I think it's very important for the Qatari government actually to look into and see if that's in future possible, because yeah, they have built their lives, and something more here. I have to be honest also, and I think FIFA should thank us for the work we have done to clean up just their reputation here. And as they say now, it's a lot of talk and not so much. I don't know the English word for verkstad. It's a Swedish word, but. I will never forget when we met a small, actually, and arrogant Sepp Blatter in the FIFA bunker outside Zurich. He told us that all that FIFA only wanted to do was to play football, and was not a construction company, I think he said. And I didn't see FIFA's part at all to uphold basic human rights, actually. We all know what's happening with Sepp, of course. But I think together with the National Football Federation, except for me here, the Nordic countries, we both approached FIFA, but we also started to joint visit and inspections in Qatar. And I think when it comes to FIFA here, it's yeah, I can say so. The Nordic Federation. Football Federation will continue to stand up on the barricades to bring through change into FIFA, and I think and I hope FIFA can be something more than just football gaming, because they play a very important role here. Okay, I can speak much more, but I stay there. Stop there for you, Gail. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Johan. Andreas, I'm sure, is bristling to respond, but we can't, Andreas, and you know, you did pledge continuing support, and you did say from your perspective, our values are hardwired, so we'll hold you to it. Tos, are we going to see the video with Senator Napoleon?
Estos cambios que estamos haciendo, una nueva reforma laboral, una nueva ley laboral en México que aprobamos y que permite el voto personal, libre, secreto y directo a los trabajadores, y que también firmamos el convenio 98 con la OIT sobre el derecho a la libertad sindical y a la libertad para la contratación colectiva, junto con el del convenio 87 de la OIT sobre el derecho a la libertad de asociación, han venido a fortalecer el ambiente de trabajo en México y, por supuesto, todo este marco de democracia, de justicia, de respeto y de libertad para todos. Este será un gran evento, el 2026, que permitirá también que nuestros compañeros de la Confederación Internacional de Trabajadores y de nuestro sindicato y de todas las demás organizaciones sindicales de nuestro país, de México, puedan también aprovechar y tener mejores oportunidades en la construcción de caminos, de puentes, de líneas de comunicación, de desarrollos turísticos o habitacionales. Todo será una gran oportunidad para contribuir todos y trabajar juntos hacia modernizar el mundo del trabajo. Vamos todos unidos, vamos trabajando. Este es un gran evento. Me da mucho gusto compartir estos minutos con ustedes. La verdad, los saludo afectuosamente, les deseo mucho éxito y estoy seguro que lo vamos a lograr todos juntos. Gracias y felicidades, compañeros. Un abrazo solidario para todas y todos ustedes.
And gracias, Napoleon, whom we met in Britain when he was in exile, and was delighted to meet him in his new role as senator in Mexico and to hear from him his commitment to workers' rights for the World Cup 2026. Colleagues, we've come a long way since signing that MOU. It was a critical milestone. So much has followed, and thank you all for sharing your insights. And I think what we can agree is there is so much more to do. And I think we hold Armin's words close to our heart, that he and the people in the communities that he's working alongside and that we're all in solidarity with have hope for their future. And that's something I think we all want to support. So thank you very much for your patience with my bossy chairing and for your participation in this panel. Thank you very much.